Hello there, very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Open warrant issued to arrest Deshabandhu Tennakone. Batalanda Commission report to Parliament this week. Cabinet announces decision. Former Philippines president arrested over alleged crimes against humanity. Firearms and ammunition found on former provincial councillor Sanjay Sirivardhana's property. Police launch raid. Former provincial councillor arrested. Adani willing to restart Sri Lanka wind project.
Starting off with your top story tonight, the Mathura Magistrates Court has issued an open warrant for the arrest of Deshabandhu Tennakone.
A warrant was issued on 28 February by the Mathura Magistrates Court for the arrest of suspended Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakone. The warrant pertains to investigations into a shooting incident that occurred in front of a hotel in Palana, Mathura on 31st December 2023. The court has also imposed a travel ban on Tennakone, preventing him from leaving the country while investigations are ongoing. Deshabandhu Tennakone yesterday filed a writ petition through his legal team seeking an interim order to suspend the arrest warrant issued against him by the Mathura Magistrates Court. The Court of Appeal has scheduled the next hearing for tomorrow. The Criminal Investigation Department presented the facts of the incident to the Mathura Magistrates Court, following which the court issued an open warrant for the arrest of Deshabandhu Tennakone.
During today's cabinet decision briefing, journalists raised questions over the delay in arresting police chief Deshabandhu Tennakone.
Deshabandhu Tennakone police පතිවරයා මේ වෙනකොට හැංගිලා දවස් 12ක් වෙනවා. හැබැයි තවම ඔහුගේ වැඩතහනම් කිරීම හෝ අනිවාර්ය නිවාඩු යැවීම කළේ නැහැ.
මම දැක්ක චම්පිකන මේ ඇමතිවරයා කියනවා ටිරාන් එක සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවා තදබල අනුර කුමාරට. ඒ නිසා ඒ උඩ මේ දේශබන්දු අත්තරකට ගන්න එක තියෙනවා. මේමගේ චෝදන ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් නීති ආධිපත්‍ය මිද වැටලා තියෙනවා. මේක නිකන් ජෝක් එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
ජනතාව අතර මතයක් තියෙනවා ටිරාන් නලස්ගේ ගෙදර කියලා ඉන්නේ. කෙලිම කිව්වොත්.
හොඳයි ඔබ කියන කරුණු ඔබ කියන තොරතුරු ඔබ
The police are thoroughly considering all information and tips provided and will investigate them accordingly. The government's objective remains to arrest these individuals and investigations are actively underway. Based on the information received, several properties have been searched. It's not just Deshabandhu Tennakone who is being sought. Other individuals involved in various incidents whose identities remain unknown are also under investigation. The process of arresting them is ongoing.
අවලියක් දියත් වෙමින් පවතිනවා.
අනිත් එක නිශ්චිතවම ඔතුමාට තොරතුරු තියෙනවද ටිරාන් නලස් මහත්මයාගේ ගෙදර පරීක්ෂාවට ලක් කළා කියලා මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් සහ අනිත් එක තවත් ප්‍රචාරයක් එනවා ස්වාමින් වහන්සේ කෙනෙක් විදිහට වෙස්සලාගෙන ඔහුට උදව් කරපු පන්සලක ඉන්නවා කියලා. ඒ වගේ දැන් පරීක්ෂා කිරීමට ලක් කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා ඔතුමා දැනුවත්ද?
දන්නේ නැති රටේ පුරවැසියන් සහ මාධ්‍යවේදීන් හැටියට ඔබටත් එහෙම තොරතුරු තියෙනවා නම් පොලිසිය ඉදිරිපත්.
I do not have that specific information. However, if you as citizens or members of the media possess any relevant details, we encourage you to share them. The only confirmed development is that a reward has been offered for information leading to Deshabandhu's capture, as well as for details regarding Sewandi. It is your responsibility as citizens to provide this information to the authorities. The police are working diligently conducting round-the-clock searches at known locations, and we believe that an arrest could occur at any time.
හිතනවා කොයි වෙලාවක හරි අත්තරම් ගන්න පුළුවන්කම ලැබෙවි කියලා.
ඇත්තට මහජන ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් මේ වෙනකොට ජනාධිපතිවරයා වෙත යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා ඔහුගේ වැඩතහනම හෝ අනිවාර්ය නිවාඩු යැවීම. දැන් දවස් 4කට හෝ 5කට කලින් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තවම අවධානය යොමු වෙලා නැද්ද?
මට ඒක
I am not aware of that.
ඉරිදා වෙනකොට සුනිල් වටගල නියෝජ්‍ය ඇමතිතුමා සඳහන් කරා දේශබන්දුට කල් දීලා තියෙනවා කියලා බාර දෙන්න. ඒතර ඒ කියන්නේ කල් දීලා තියෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ රජයත් සමග සම එකඟතාවයක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවද? ඔහුට Court of Appeal යන්න කාලයක් දෙන්න එහෙම මොකක් හරි එකඟතාවයක් තියෙනවද?
කිසිම කල් දීමක්.
No, there has been no extension granted. I am not sure what the statement meant. Our primary objective remains to arrest Deshabandhu and present him in court.
පොලිස්පතිවරයා තමයි දැන් නියෝග කරලා තියෙන්නේ මහේස්ත්‍රාත්වරයා. ඊට අමතරව මහේස්ත්‍රාත්වරයා විමර්ශන කරන්න කියලා තියෙනවා හිටපු අමාත්‍ය ටිරාන් නලස් පිළිබඳව. තාම ප්‍රකට කාරණයක් තියෙනවා සමාජයේ සමාජගත වෙච්ච ටිරාන් නලස් සහ මේ හෝටලේ හිමිකරු අතර ගැටුමක් ප්‍රතිඵලයක් විදිහට තමයි මේ සිද්ධිය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා.
දැනට මේ
I do not have detailed information to share on these matters at this time. However, you will be kept informed through the police spokesperson as investigations progress.
Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that the Batalanda Commission report will be presented to Parliament this week. He expressed these views at today's media briefing on cabinet decisions.
බටලන්ද වාර්තාවට අදාළව ඊයේ කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේදී මේ ගැන ජනාධිපතිවරයා විශේෂ අවධානයක්
The President paid special attention to this matter during the last cabinet meeting. We discussed it extensively. As a result, the cabinet has decided to present the Batalanda Commission report to Parliament this week. After presenting it, we will announce the next steps to be taken.
මේ සතිය තුලදී එම වාර්තාව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
ඒකේ මොකක්ද අදහස් වෙන්නේ? ඒ කියන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න යෝජනාවක් හැටියටද නැත්නම් ඒකේ තියෙන කරුණු ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න කියලාද?
කොමිෂන් සභාව
When a commission of inquiry submits its recommendations, the Attorney General's Department must engage the relevant institutions for further action. Therefore, the first step is to present the report to Parliament. Only after that can we discuss the next steps to decide what actions will be taken through the Attorney General's Department.
හැබැයි මේ කමිෂන් සභා පනත අනුව ජනාධිපතිට තමයි වාර්තාව දෙන්නේ ජනාධිපතිට පුළුවන් කැමති නිර්දේශ ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න.
මම හිතනවා ඊට වඩා
Yes, I believe this approach is more stable. Once we present the report to Parliament, both Parliament and the President or the Executive can decide on the next steps to take.
මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම හරහා අමතර දේශපාලන වාසියක් ගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවාද? මොකද මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කතා කරනකොට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම දේශපාලන වාසියක් ලැබෙනවා මේ ඉස්සරහා ඡන්දෙත් එක්ක.
දේශපාලන වාසිය ගන්න පාර්ලිමේන්තුව මේක ඉදිරිපත් කරන දත් ඒ වාසිය අපිට
Political advantage can be sought whether or not the report is presented to Parliament if that is the intention. Presenting it to Parliament is not unusual. We can discuss the Batalanda issue in Parliament, hold media briefings and engage in public discussions. There is already some public discourse on the matter, which is positive. This will open up opportunities for further discussions in the future. So we will present the report to Parliament as the people expect. The discussion that follows will be crucial in determining future actions. There is no reason to cause a scene regarding presenting this to Parliament.
On the 21st of September 1995, the Batalanda Presidential Commission of Inquiry was established, revealing numerous details about the torture chamber operated at the Batalanda housing complex during the 1988-1990 period. Survivors of torture identified the houses used for their mistreatment before the commission. These details are clearly documented in the commission's report. House 2/2 in the complex was used by Ranil Wickremesinghe from 1983 to April 1989 as a tourist bungalow under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Employment. From April 1989 to 1994, Wickremesinghe used the same house as his official residence while serving as the Minister of Industries. House 2/1 was allocated for Wickremesinghe's security personnel, while House 2/3 was assigned to a ministry under his purview. Vincent Fernando, who served as Wickremesinghe's bungalow caretaker, mysteriously died a few days before Wickremesinghe was to testify before the commission. House 1/7 was also used by Wickremesinghe's security officers, and House B2 served as his office. A person who escaped torture identified this house before the commission, which was a significant revelation. House B1 was used by Wickremesinghe's security personnel, and Police Inspector Sudhap Chandrasekhara, Wickremesinghe's personal security officer, used House B7. House B8, located nearby, was used by the security personnel of Superintendent of Police Douglas Pierce. Earl Suji Pereira testified before the commission that he was tortured in House B8. The report also mentions that Wickremesinghe, as a minister, had ordered additional houses to be allocated to a police unit. At a media briefing, former Army officer Indranand De Silva revealed details about the events at Batalanda.
මම යුද හමුදා පොලිසියේ හිටපු චෑරූප ශිල්පියා. වදකාගාරයෙන් වදකාගාරයට ගිහිල්ලා මෙයා චෑරූපගත
I was a former photographer for the military police. I was assigned to photograph the torture chambers and compile an album of all individuals who were killed. This album was shown to suspects to identify the victims. The task assigned to me was to photograph individuals the day before they were killed. Some were consuming brandy as they enjoyed watching the cruel torture. Such people later became presidents of this country. The person who revealed everything about the Batalanda torture chamber committed suicide, but we know it wasn't a suicide. We know what happened when Douglas Peters tried to cover things up. Vijayadasa Leonarachi, who exited court, was taken to Tangol, kept at the SSP's house, and then brought to Batalanda after being brutally tortured. Lawyers boycotted court and filed a habeas corpus petition demanding that he be produced in court. Ranil had to hospitalize Leonarachi, who died the same day. His post-mortem revealed 19 broken ribs and 307 injuries. Vijayadasa Leonarachi, who fought for the poor, was brutally beaten and killed at the Batalanda torture chamber.
The Batalanda report has resurfaced in public discourse following a recent interview with Al Jazeera, where Ranil Wickremesinghe was questioned about the report during the head-to-head program.
Look, there was no report. So you are quoting, if there's a report.
You were the Minister of Industry.
Look, but I am telling you, there's no report.
I do have a report, but I've just literally read from it.
There's no report.
Wickremesinghe repeatedly stated that the report was never presented to Parliament. Former BBC journalist Frances Harrison highlighted the report during the program.
I'm flabbergasted. I mean, I have a copy of the report here. It says printed by the order of the government.
In some headline-making news from overseas now, the Office of the President of the Philippines reported the arrest of the country's former president, Rodrigo Duterte, after receiving a request from the International Criminal Court.
Higiin ko na lang sa inyo, total, kung ganito man talaga ang swerte ko sa buhay, okay lang, tatanggapin ko yan. Wala tayong magawa eh. Hulihin tayo kung ikulong tayo. Meantime,
Duterte was taken into custody at the Manila airport upon his arrival from Hong Kong, according to the Philippine government, which received the request through the Interpol. Duterte is facing allegations of crimes against humanity during a brutal anti-drugs drive while he was in office. His so-called war on drugs while he was president from 2016 to 2022 deprived suspects of due process under the law, according to the arrest warrant, and resulted in the deaths of thousands of people, including children. Defending his actions amid reports of his possible arrest, Duterte had previously said that he did everything for the Filipino people.
On the basis for detention. So, what is the law and what is the crime that I committed? Show to me now the legal basis for my being here. As apparently I was brought here not of my own volition. It's somebody else's. So you have to answer now for the deprivation of liberty.
According to police records, over the course of Duterte's 6-year presidency, over 7,000 people were killed in official operations. However, previously published reports showed different numbers, pointing to what some critics claim are inconsistencies in record keeping. Human rights advocates said the killings numbered over 30,000, including those killed by unknown suspects, some of whom later turned out to be police officers. In a statement, the Human Rights Watch described Duterte's arrest as a critical step for accountability in the Philippines.
The chief prelate of the Kataragama Kirivehera Temple, Venerable Kobavaka Daminda Thero, was summoned to the Criminal Investigation Department today. The summons was in connection with an ongoing investigation related to a house in Kataragama.
The chief prelate of Kataragama Kirivehera Temple, Venerable Kobavaka Daminda Thero, appeared before the Criminal Investigation Department today following a summons issued by the department. He provided a statement for nearly 5 hours in connection with the ongoing investigation.
I was summoned today regarding an investigation into a house that became a major issue in Kataragama in the past. They inquired whether Kirivehera was connected to it, but in reality, Kirivehera has no involvement. I clearly explained this to the investigating officers. The construction was carried out during the tenure of our former chief prelate. I had no prior knowledge of it. These were the facts that I clarified during the inquiry.
The CID also recorded a statement yesterday from the Basnayaka Nilame of the Ruhunu Maha Kataragama Devalaya regarding the ongoing investigation. MP Namal Rajapaksa raised concerns with the Minister of Public Security in Parliament today regarding recent actions taken by the Criminal Investigation Department.
Yesterday,
the Nilame gave a statement, and now the chief theatre of Kirivehera, who has travelled from Kataragama to Colombo, is providing a statement to the Criminal Investigations Department. While it is acceptable for them to take statements from individuals, there is another issue. They went to the Nilame's house at night wearing civilian clothes. They questioned his 84-year-old mother and asked her to write that she was not disturbed. However, the police in the area were not informed about this visit. They searched a house at midnight without a search warrant. Isn't this the same charge made against Deshabandhu, who was accused of conducting a search without a warrant in connection to a gunfire incident? This seems to be a similar situation. I am uncertain whether some officers are attempting to put you in a difficult position, but these actions are being perceived by the public as acts of revenge. At the very least, please rectify these irregularities. If such searches are necessary, they should be conducted with a court order as required by law. However, that was not the case here.
The
investigation was carried out based on credible information received by the Criminal Investigations Department. Typically, in such investigations, local police are not informed. However, the CID officers clearly identified themselves to the homeowners, presented their identity cards, and informed them of the reason for their visit. The search was conducted with the homeowners' consent, and, as is customary, a statement was recorded from someone present in the house afterwards. In the future, we will ensure that every house search is reported to the nearest court, and we will take steps to present the facts to the magistrate.
කටයුතු කරලා තියෙනවා ඉදිරියේදී පිළිබඳව ඒ මෛත්‍රාත්වයට කරුණු වාර්තා කරන්න කටයුතු කරනවා.
Former provincial councillor Sanjay Siriwardena was arrested following the discovery of a cache of firearms and ammunition buried in his property.
Police reported finding a T-56 assault rifle, 2 magazines, 130 rounds of ammunition, a 12-bore shotgun and 6 rounds of shotgun ammunition on a 25-acre coconut estate in Athanagalla belonging to former provincial councillor Sanjay Siriwardena. The search operation was conducted based on a tip-off received by the authorities. Further investigations revealed that additional hidden firearms, including 4 more T-56 rifles and several live hand grenades, are likely to be buried on the property, and investigations are underway. The police special task force assisted in the ongoing operations to uncover all concealed weapons on the property. Police have recovered 3 9mm pistols and 152 rounds of ammunition from a well at a private company in Valivita, Kaduwela. The weapons were recovered during a raid conducted by the Kaduwela police based on a tip-off received. Police confirmed that all 3 pistols were manufactured overseas.
Newsfirst with the people.
With trendy fashion collections bringing style to Valavatta. Opening from March 12th at number 42A Gall Road, Valavatta. Ready for you.
Susie Clothing Store.
In the heart of Anamadua, lives are changing. For years, patients traveled miles for life-saving treatments, but not anymore. Gammatha renovated a building to establish a dialysis unit at the Anamadua Base Hospital and constructed another building to house a medical-grade water purification system. Gammatha, for the people, by the people.
President Anura Kumara Dissanayake said that the budget makes a strong effort to allow the economy to function freely rather than be constrained by restrictions. The President expressed these views during his participation in the 26th anniversary celebration of the Young Lankan Entrepreneurs Board.
අපිට නැවත ණය ගෙවීම සඳහා 2028 දී අපිට ආරම්භ කරන්න නියමිතව තිබෙනවා.
We are scheduled to begin repaying our debts in 2028 with a 3-year grace period. What should we do during this time? Our goal is to work strategically over these 3 years. We must be extremely careful, as even a small mistake could lead to disastrous consequences. We do not have the luxury of an economy we can manage freely. Every economic decision we make is the result of careful discussion involving our Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, our central bank governor, and political leadership. We no longer have the right to make mistakes. What would it mean if we did? It would mean we have failed to learn from our past errors. We must transform into a nation that learns from its mistakes and oversights. I assure you that we will take this responsibility seriously and fulfill it. If you ask whether we are economically independent, the answer is no. Not at this moment. We do not have the economic freedom to make decisions as we wish. We are still bound by certain limitations. In preparing the budget, we worked within these constraints. We made every effort to avoid raising existing tax rates, and we successfully implemented favorable changes to certain tax sectors. As a result, we did not propose tax measures that would have a significantly negative impact on the economy. However, an economy that is constantly held back cannot achieve rapid development. Therefore, when preparing the budget, we focused on providing the economy with some room to grow freely, rather than maintaining restrictive controls. The central bank governor can confirm that we agreed to reduce the service tax from 30% to 15%. Although we had initially planned to remove the VAT in January, we decided to postpone this change until October. Similarly, the introduction of property tax, which was scheduled for this year, has been postponed until next year. As of the 1st of February, we also allowed vehicle imports to resume. 5 years ago, we imported vehicles when the exchange rate was around 180 rupees to the dollar. Today, the exchange rate is 300 rupees to the dollar. So vehicle prices are expected to rise due to the change in the exchange rates. We have imposed certain taxes. We have taken a very strategic approach to removing import restrictions while protecting the overall health of the economy. The governor and I spent several days collecting and analyzing extensive data to determine the best course of action. The last data I saw showed that $150 million worth of letters of credit had been opened. Every evening, we monitor the LC figures from the banking system, conducting a daily analysis. You may have concerns about whether import restrictions will be reinstated. The answer is no. We are managing this market strategically to prevent the need for further restrictions on vehicle imports.
ඔබ ආයෝජනය කරන්න ඔබ ව්‍යාපාරයේ දෙන්න අපි ඔබට සහාය ලබා දෙන්න. මම ඔබ ඉදිරිපිටත් කියන්නම්. ඔබ ආයෝජකයෙක් හැටියට මුණ ගැහුණාමත් කියන්නම්. අපට ඔබෙන් ඇල් වතුර වීදුරුවක්වත් එපා. ඔබ මේ රට කොට ගන්න.
3 newly appointed Court of Appeal justices were formally sworn in before President Andrew Kumara Dissanayake today at the President's office. The appointments were conferred on High Court judges W.K.S.U. Premachandra, K. Priyantha Fernando and A. Premashankar. Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumanayaka, was also present at the occasion. The Global Terrorism Index, or GTI 2025 report highlights a significant decline in the impact of terrorism in Sri Lanka.
According to the Global Terrorism Index 2025 report, Sri Lanka has shown marked improvement in its security situation. The 12th annual GTI report ranked Sri Lanka 100 among 163 countries considered in the index. However, with a GTI score of 0, Sri Lanka shares the lowest spot on the index with 63 other countries. The report notes that in 2024, South Asia was the region with the highest average GTI score, a position it has held throughout the last decade. Despite the deterioration this year, which was driven primarily by Pakistan, terrorism has significantly declined compared to a decade ago, with all South Asian countries recording an improvement. This improvement is largely attributed to a decline in terrorist activity in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka. The region is home to 2 of the 10 countries with the worst GTI scores, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Of the 7 countries in South Asia, only Bhutan and Sri Lanka have a GTI score of 0, indicating that neither country has recorded a terrorist attack in the past 5 years. Sri Lanka was the most improved South Asian country in 2024, with the country recording no terrorist attacks or deaths for the 5th consecutive year since 2019. Nepal followed as the second most improved country, recording no attacks or deaths for the second consecutive year.
Doctors, nurses and all staff at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital have launched a strike, withdrawing from all services except emergency care. The strike was launched demanding measures to ensure the safety of all staff members, particularly female doctors and nurses.
A female doctor was sexually assaulted by an individual at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital last night. Staff at the hospital launched the strike demanding immediate action to arrest the perpetrator and ensure the safety of all staff members, particularly female doctors and nurses.
This is a truly unfortunate situation, and if it is not addressed, we risk seeing more incidents like this in the future. An unsafe environment like this threatens the very foundation of our healthcare system. That is why we have decided to take action today. It is crucial that this issue is resolved right away. We urge the police and authorities to step in and ensure a safe working environment for all healthcare workers, especially our female doctors and staff.
Meanwhile, the Government Medical Officers Association warned that if the perpetrator is not arrested by tomorrow morning, the strike will escalate.
The executive committee has decided that if the police fail to arrest the suspect by 8 a.m. tomorrow, the strike, which is currently limited to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital, will be extended to the entire North Central province, beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow. We have unanimously agreed to extend the strike in response.
The matter was also raised in Parliament today.
In situations like this, a large number of female doctors are experiencing severe shock and fear. Is the government aware of this? Do they know about the female doctor who was subjected to such serious sexual harassment and abuse? When did they first become aware of the situation? And most importantly, what steps are being taken to address it? In response, the police acted swiftly and launched an investigation which is still ongoing. The suspect has been identified as a man who deserted the military. His identity has been confirmed and we have pinpointed his current location. 5 police teams are working to apprehend him and we expect his arrest very soon. We will continue to expedite the investigation and ensure that justice is served for those responsible for this incident.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
Chairman of the Election Commission RMAL Ratnayaka said that all preparations for accepting nominations for the local government elections have been completed.
We have had talks this week with the Inspector General of Police, the Government Printer and the Postmaster General to go over the organizational details. We have also gathered all the returning officers along with Assistant and Deputy Commissioners from the districts at the Election Secretariat to have thorough discussions about the necessary steps for accepting nominations and organizing the upcoming election.
The National People's Power deposited bonds for the local government elections in the Badula district today.
We have fielded a strong team with the clear aim of securing a definite victory in this election. We have included highly qualified professionals who have extensive experience working closely with the people as well as committed social activists. We are determined to put an end to the corrupt governance that has plagued the municipal, urban and provincial councils, and we are focused on creating a better future.
The Samagi Jana Balawega deposited bonds for the Uva Paranagama Pradesh Sabha in the Badula district today.
We have carefully selected and presented a skilled team for the Uva Paranagama Provincial Council. We are confident that we will successfully establish the Uva Paranagama Provincial Council.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party-led Podujan Eksat Perumana deposited bonds for 17 local government bodies at the Mathura election office today.
This time we have fielded a well-educated, intelligent and youthful team. We will be contesting under the chair symbol.
The Samagi Jana Balawega deposited bonds for the Hakmana, Mulatiyana and Paskoda provincial councils.
We are confident that the Samagi Jana Balawega will achieve victory as it has now become the leading political force in the country.
Every day, millions face the impossible. What happens when clean water feels out of reach? When an entire village is left helpless? When it seemed like no one is listening, Gammatha saw the need. Gammatha took action and a community fought back. A water purification system for a village that once had none. Gammatha, for the people, by the people.
This is my...
Hopefully it's my last.
My dear friends, here
Adani Green Energy Sri Lanka Limited has informed Sri Lanka's Ministry of Energy that it is willing to work in line with approvals granted earlier with regard to the 484 megawatt wind renewable generation project if the same are found convenient by the Sri Lankan government.
Adani Green Energy Sri Lanka Limited noted that it sincerely pursued for state-of-the-art development of a 484 megawatt wind renewable generation project, along with its associated transmission connectivities, including the proposal for a new transmission network of 220 kilowatts and 400 kilowatts, until the tariff for the renewable energy proposal was approved by the government of Sri Lanka after more than 2 years of long negotiations. It added that it was patiently waiting for the formalization of the government decisions. However, in the absence of any formal communication, it decided to opt out of the project. Adani Green Energy Sri Lanka Limited said that it was always willing to execute expeditiously the renewable energy and transmission projects as was approved by the government of Sri Lanka. Adani Green Energy Sri Lanka Limited reaffirmed that it will always be available for the Sri Lankan government to have them undertake this or any development opportunities, albeit which augurs well for Sri Lanka and Adani Green Energy Sri Lanka Limited. CEO of the Advocata Institute, Dhananath Fernando, stressed that growth is the only viable solution for Sri Lanka's recovery. He expressed these views at the 23rd K. Sivanyanathan Memorial Oration and Award Ceremony in Colombo yesterday.
I think the crisis is we are not, after 76 years of independence, we are still a developing country. So what's the problem? The problem is very simple. We borrowed too much money in dollar terms, in short maturity, and invested in infrastructure which did not generate any revenue. From the money that we borrowed from 2010, 50% of the money we borrowed was borrowed to pay interest. And another about 26% is for the exchange rate variation. So when we hit this problem, it's very difficult to come out. And it also indicates, even if you look at the recent statistics after the debt restructuring, even we have to pay about $1.2 billion only for service commercial debt for the next 20 years. And that's only the commercial debt, not the bilateral debt or any other debt. Even this reflects, if you look at the budget numbers which was presented by this new government, even in their budget. Even if you look at our expenditure in rupee terms, let's say our expenditure is 7 rupees. To spend 7 rupees, our income is about 5 rupees. And out of that 5 rupees, we have to spend 3 rupees just as interest. So while we are earning 5 rupees, we have to spend 3 rupees for interest expenditure, and out of 7 rupees, again we have to spend 3 rupees as interest. So under this context, the only way out for Sri Lanka is growth. Growth is the only answer. We have to grow the economy, grow the economy, grow the economy, and we have to do everything to grow the economy.
Dhananath Fernando spoke about how Sri Lanka can achieve economic growth.
State-owned enterprises reforms is non-negotiable. We have to reform state-owned enterprises. And the second is to grow, that we need to empower people. And even if you look at our salary structure, the challenge is when government incurs losses on those state-owned enterprises, there are a lot of areas that we have to spend more, especially on education and healthcare. That's the number one reform that we need to do. The second reform is mainly on trade and investment. This has also been widely spoken, commented, but the reforms has to be done. We also need to understand we are in a context of a highly aging population.
The 23rd K. Sivagananathan Memorial Oration and Award Ceremony organised by the Association of Professional Bankers Sri Lanka with the K. Sivagananathan Memorial Trust was held under the theme From Crisis to Comeback.
Financial Institute Management.
Implementing the National Budget 2025 series, a seminar organised by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce was held in Colombo today.
Implementing the National Budget 2025 series, a seminar on the latest tax amendments under the National Budget 2025 organised by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce was held in Colombo today. Keynote speaker for the event, Charmaine Tilakaratna, Head of Tax, Deloitte Sri Lanka and Maldives, expressed her views on the removal of SWAT scheme.
This SWAT scheme needs to be repealed by 1st of October 2025. As I mentioned, it's in the law, and unless contested within the next few days, it will be passed and certified as law. It's in the bill, be passed and certified. So several people did make submissions, as I mentioned, on the prudency of suddenly withdrawing this SWAT scheme, at which point there was an assurance made, and it was also iterated in the budget speech this time, that a robust refund system would be implemented before the SWAT scheme is withdrawn. So the proposal is that a risk-based refund system is implemented, and a pilot project would be carried out before the repeal of the SWAT scheme by 1st of October 2025. Because another submission made by the relevant exporters and the persons to whom SWAT are applicable is that as it is, there are refunds that are due to the exporters which are stuck and have not been processed over several years.
The event was also attended by expert speakers, panelists and others.
A media briefing was held in Colombo today to announce the Salam Ramadan event organised to commemorate the month of Ramadan.
Salam Ramadan is being organised under the directive of Western Province Governor Hanif Yusuf.
This event is more than just a celebration. It is a challenge that we have embraced with full commitment. With just 25 days to prepare, we are working tirelessly to ensure its success, because we firmly believe that this effort is in the best interest of national harmony. Unity is not just an aspiration, it is something we must actively work towards, and this event is a step in that direction.
The Salam Ramadan event will take place in Colombo from the 21st March to the 31st March and is aimed at promoting national unity.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.